do some tweet application. So the tweet application is there, and as you can see that Twitter node I have used on my application, and in the Twitter node, what we can do, we can bring the it's on little bit doesn't matter because it's a very heavy program. Although you can see that it is very simple, but it is not as simple as you can see. So as you can see the Twitter node, if I double click the Twitter node, what my objective is that I want to see that what the people are telling, what the consumers are telling about a particular bank, say. Okay. Now, as you know that here we have SBI, which is the State Bank of India, which is very famous. So we can collect the tweets immediately. You can double click. This is the tweet handler, and I can sort of use search item as SBI. So SBI will be search item, and you see you need to give a special access key which is called the API key, Twitter API key, which I have already collected from Twitter. So there is a key and the secret password which always you have to give in this application, in any application in fact. Whenever you are getting data from Twitter, you have to give that. And I want to know the content of the tweets, okay, English tweet, not any other language. So there is a language flexibility and maximum tweets, say I want 2000 tweets along with the retweets. So retweets I have ticked, retweets, okay. So as I can see the content, I start searching. So I click this button, the searching is happening, and you can see that it's already searching. We can see the number counts here 120, 140, 60, and this way it is going up. It will generate speed slowly, and only the relevant tweets are coming and getting into my data, which is there in the audience software. In the meantime, I must tell you there are other software, the very popular software many of you may be heard of, which is called K9. K9 is a very similar software, and it is very popular today in these business applications, which also works under Python. And Orange and K9, these are the software with which you can use very sophisticated applications like deep learning and other things without doing any coding. You see, we are not doing any coding, but still we can generate the tweets. Now, out of 2000, you see how the tweets are. Why I took 2000? Because you can get some idea. If you take 50 or 60, you don't get that distribution very nicely, because what I want, we have to see that what the people are writing. Now, to see that kind of a thing, the content analysis we call, to see the content, we can generate a word cloud. So I will generate a word cloud to see what are the people telling very recently, because these are the recent tweets. And after that, we will also see how to do the sentiment analysis of the data. That means whether the people are saying positively or negatively about it. and what is the distribution of this. So I think that we are very near to it. 88% or 90% is done. So we immediately go for 100%. You see that 100% is nearly reached. So all the data has been picked up. It is doing some pre-processing, and after that, once the pre-processing will be over, we will do the rest bit. Okay. So now we can see the pre-processing is over. So we go back to our workflow diagram. Now there is a thing called corpus viewer. That means whatever I have downloaded here, I can just send it to a viewer to see it. So if I double click the corpus viewer, you can see that you see the tweets are coming, right? And for the first tweet, this is the content of the tweet, this is the author of the tweet, okay? And the date and other things are there. You see the date is 20th August, just today. So it is giving you the very recent tweets. If you look at this was Dheeraj, the fourth tweet. This is something like Guru Shankar. Okay, so you can see the name of the author or Twitter, the content of the tweet. We are mostly interested in the content of the tweet. Okay, so we can see that what they have in this way. Probably you know that 2000 tweets are there. Okay, so all of these you can see from the viewer. So this is very simple and easy. I don't think there is any problem. Now, on the other hand, what you can do, there is a pre-processing for the text. So whenever you just load or scrape the data from the net, you need to do, especially for the text, you need to do for some pre-processing, going for the missing data and some strange data items, you get it out, okay? And also something like you have to change all the text into its lowercase, because you know uppercase, lowercase, if they are mixed up, there will be a problem, right? And there are some other things. Remove a URL means if there is any URL that is with the @ sign, those will be removed. Okay, so this is the of the text pre-processing. So once we do that, right, pre-processing is done, and we can come after this, you know. So if I draw the data from the preprocessor, I'll get the pre-processed data. So the word cloud node is there. You can see it is written word cloud, and I can simply double click to see that what is there in the word cloud. So taking a little time, because actually the other applications I'll show you in the other laptop. This laptop is little slow, but my application is loaded on this laptop, but it will come anyway. So if I just double click, let's see the what cloud is coming. Yeah. Now you can see, you know what is a word cloud? Word cloud is basically the high frequency words, the frequency of the words are coming there. I could have, got rid of the numerals through my editing, but anyway, let's forget about that. You see, for the SBI, I can see some of the people are talking about the complaint, okay, connect. They are talking about something called situation. Now, the thing is that this is basically what is happening, that you have to, as an analyst, you have to understand that what are the core values of these customer comments, online deposit, steps, simples, okay, pursue, but I don't see many, the words related to the service here, shared credit, voice, account, card, follow, pay. Yes, all these things are there. So we can say that nothing much to complain about it, but there might be some complaint anyway. We can see this from uh, the other analysis, which is called the sentiment analysis. So actually, more and more you gather the records. We have gathered only the 2000, but the machine learning works with minimum of 10,000 to 20,000 data. So with which you can see that it can be uh, understood properly. If you see the small letters like techno, somebody wanted to comment about the technology about this particular bank. Now, through some kind of a comparison, you can just see that what is happening. A big word fan is there. Maybe this is a disturbance because not there's a shortage of fan in the brands. Okay, many of people are commenting on this. So this can be a true uh, complaint. Okay. So if we just go out of this and see the sentiment analysis, okay, and in the sentiment analysis, sometimes we also call it a polarity analysis. That is how positive the tweets are, how negative the tweets are. We can do it and we can have a distribution of the sentiments. So if I see that what are the distribution of the sentiments, you see what you can see from here is this, that I can always take this up and see that mostly these people are very much neutral. These people are very much neutral, and the positive sentiments are on the right, and the negative sentiments on the left. This is very strange that a very high frequency of negative sentiment, which is minus 18 to minus 19 in this group, they are giving, and at most 18 of them are giving these. How many of them? You can see that 108 of them, there is 108 of them are giving this out of 2000, which needs to be, you see, this is the thing which needs to be assessed, because if you filter out that who are these people and what they are talking about, why it is so negative, then the company can take care of this, because this is very much isolated. You can see maybe a special kind of a complaint, and that's why suddenly we got a very huge number complaining about it. But when you are there, you see all the positive things. One thing you can see, the positive and negative are more or less the same. So it is not so, I mean, so charming that the people for SBI, they are extremely happy with the services of the bank. They're not very happy with the services. And again, I can see a huge chunk on the very negative side. So on the other hand, if you want to see a private bank in the country, a private bank like a, a bank like ICICI, this is also not very reputed, very, well trusted, but still they do a lot of marketing exercises. So maybe they can push the sentiment a little low through their uh, technology handling. So if I, just for the purpose of understanding the differences between two banks, one was SBI, and SBI we saw that it's more or less evenly spread, the positive and negative, except one exceptional situation, and somebody has to take care of that exceptional situation. So what I am saying that this is a very free software. You don't have to do anything. What you need to do on your laptop, first you have to load the uh, program which is Python. Once you have loaded the Python program, and after that, you can load the Orange program. This is also free of cost. So this Orange program will give you this kind of a, the nodes which you can bring onto the canvas and work with it. You can connect it, and very, in a very easy way, you can generate your models. Okay. There are many things in it, so it might take 1 week's time to learn the Orange, but once you have learned it, you can do it very easily without much of a problem. So we are near to the end of it. That is the ICICI Bank. So 100% data is accumulated. Then what we can do, we can do some kind of a quick word map, and you see in the ICICI that people are talking about HDFC, which is another private bank. That means they are trying to compare with their competitors. Okay, the care is ICICI Bank care. This is the thing they are, you know, um, mentioning in their tweet. The price they are mentioning. Unfortunately, you don't have a detailed analysis through the cloud, but very simply you can understand that what they are. If there is something, the care again and again they are talking about, please. So there are so many requests. They're talking about the internet, the problem, okay, which is also coming. So basically, in your voluntary, in your content analysis, the content analysis is a different science altogether. So once you know that which are the words, generated by the consumers again and again and again, you see cash, there might be some problem with the ATM cash. So what is the problem? You have to go to the tweet and find out That's what the people are talking about the cache. Because once you have done it, going through the detail of it is not very difficult. You can filter the data and find each and individual tweet. For insurance, there is also some comparison with the Lombard and other things. So that is there. So after that, if we are interested in the analysis for the uh, sentiment, so here the sentiment analysis picture is little bit different. Now what you can see this is just the other way up. What it is happening, the positive portions are higher compared to the negative portions. Okay, so actually their marketing people are working day and night on to make this graph well. So you can see that this particular portion which is giving 44 of the tweets, which is going very positive for them. Okay, now normally what they do, they try to find out which are the negative elements of the sentiment. So they remove these things from their system so that the problem is reduced, right? And in the state bank, because it is a public sector bank, there is no question of, bothering about these Twitter comments and other things. So they are like that. So I think that the popularity of the tweets and tweeters will be on and on and on. So you can see that I am making ready the other one, and I'll just move on to, sorry, I will just move on to, I go away from here, I'll move on.
Sorry about that. I think Sir has had some internet problems. Sir will be here soon.
Afrida, any comment you made?
No. Yes, sir. I think you had some internet connections problem.
Okay. So now, actually, as you can see that after looking at this application, I would like you to ask that do you think that this is a very handy tool for you, and you can do it very quickly, searching for the keywords, and immediately you can take some action or understand, write a report, small report on this. And as I understand that, that today everything is becoming very much digital. So these are the digital way, okay? These are the digital way of understanding the things and analyzing the things. And there are so many things. I'll just show you some analytical things after this. But before that, I wanted to show you the very basic things about the information processing, information gathering, which is a very dynamic affair today. Now, if you have any comment, you are coming from different places. So I just quickly wanted to interact with you. If you have any special kind of a need or request, I can be of some help. May not be in this small seminar, but later on. Okay. So anyone having any comment on this? Do you think the Orange software is very handy?
Anybody, any participant has to say something about this?
You are muted, sir. You are muted.
You can unmute yourself and say if you have to say something.
Yeah, now it's okay.
As far I can see that this software is very much important to gather knowledge about any banking institution or any financial institutions, because we can have a gather knowledge that what people are saying about us.
Yes.
So I think this software from Orange or from Python is very much useful to us. Thank you, sir.
That's very good. Thank you. And another thing I would like to just share with you is that you don't need to go in a very hardcore way of writing the codes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is very simple.
Yeah, it is very simple. So once you do, later on we can have a simply one-day workshop on Orange. Okay.
Yes,
so various application we can do. And it is a very good data analyzing software. So you can do all these things, what is happening and available today, that can be done.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. It is very much useful to us, sir.
That will be, I hope that will be very, very useful. Now, another thing I would like to tell you that we have done in 2019 one analysis for the service quality in banks, which is very interesting.
Yes.
So you see, sometimes the people don't bother about the service quality, they bother about other things, but they have to understand in the competition what customers are thinking about us. Okay, so for that, actually there has been a lot of models which has been prepared. I just wanted to throw a little light on that through a PPT presentation, which is basically the model has been prepared long ago, which is called the SERVQUAL, Service Quality in Bank. Let's have, I'll share first. I'll share the screen. So after sharing the screen, we can come to the, straight away we can come to the PPT. So this is the kind of PPT I wanted to show you. Okay, a SERVQUAL approach. This was a very, very well-known research throughout the world, which is the service quality of any kind of a service. Okay, now what is there? That 3 people in the United States, probably many of you know, the Parsuramon, Berry, and one. Yeah, I think there is a question, hands up. Tawhidul, Mr. Tawhidul, you wanted to say something, you can say. Mr. Tawhidul Islam, you are muted. Okay. Would you like to have?
Do you want to add something? Do you want to say something?
No, ma'am.
No, it's your hand is up actually. Can you just take care of that?
You have raised your hand, so.
You raised your hand. And Mr. Mashood as well, you raised your hand. So you can take it down, no problem. So Zetmal, Validi, and Parsuramon. Parsuramon is an Indian anyway, but stayed for last 40 years in the States. Now, what they say that we call battery of scale. Scale means a measurement tool. So the quality measurement tool for any service, they said that there will be 5 dimensions. Now, what are the 5 dimensions? I hope you can see the screen. If you look at the left-hand side of the screen, there is reliability, responsiveness, assurance. Sorry about this. I'll go to the pointer, then this should be all right. Zoom in, pointer options. Let's take a laser pointer view. Now it should be all right. You see the reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy, and tangibles. Now, what are these? These are the basic, we call constructs. Basic constructs or dimensions. Now, as you can see, the reliability means that if I say that this service is reliable, what does it mean? In short, they mean that what they promise they give. Can you say that? What they promise they give? Okay. Responsiveness means that they are very responsive to the customers. That is, if I suddenly ask for something, they will give us. Okay. They respond very quickly. And assurance is nothing but trust. Okay, assurance is nothing but trust. That means, okay, blindly you can, do your job there. So you got a trust, right? And fourth dimension is called empathy. Empathy is a human dimension. That means, they are empathetic to you. So that means, okay, if you are in the long queue, say an aged person, they can help you out. So they has the empathy to understand the human problem, and they are always helpful. And there is a fifth thing which is called the tangibles. This also helps us for the service quality. That is, if I see that what infrastructure they have. Okay, they have good computers, they are very clean office, okay, nicely maintained queues, which we can see. You see, number 1 to number 4, these are abstract. We cannot see them. But tangibles are that which we can see, right? So that can make a difference in terms of the quality. Definitely, if there is a very dim light and, the things are very shabby, now the customers are not very happy. So they say the quality is not very good. So these are well experimented and well researched for long years by them. These 5 different constructs or 5 different dimensions to measure the service quality as a whole. Okay. And normally what happens, we ask questions to the clients or the customers related to each of these. And 1 or 2 questions are just there. You can see that for measuring reliability, I can say that they provide services as promised. Another question can be dependability in handling customer service problems. That means I depend on these customers. They can handle my services well. Okay. Performing services right in the right the first time, and service is provided within the promised time, and it is an error-free service. So reliability means error-free. Reliability means whatever you promise you give. These are the things which are inherent into reliability. So I can ask the question, and I can ask them to score them. Okay, score, it can be 1 to 10 scale, it can be 1 to 5 scale. They can score like your starting 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star, you can score. So just adding up, they can give a very crude idea about the reliability this particular service organization is giving. Similarly, the responsiveness, you can ask things like how prompt they are, prompt service to the customer, okay, and willingness to help. This is also responsiveness. That sometimes you can see some clerks are there on the window, but they're not willing to help. You see, they are talking to each other for long time. So that goes against the responsiveness. So readiness to respond to customer request. Assurance, this dimension means that we have confidence. This is the thing, that we have trust and confidence in, okay? And making the customers feel safe, that you are in safe hand, no problem, okay, no forgery, nothing, nobody will take your money. So this is your assurance. And this is a big part, I feel, for the bank, that you have to assure your clients that their money is safe, okay? Employees are consistently courteous. And when you come to empathy, this is also another thing, especially in the hospital, bank, they are very useful, that they take individual attention. Okay, the employees who deal with the customers in a caring fashion. So it's a sharing, caring, these things are, very much needed by the customer. Say you go to a bank, there is no seat, there is no chair to sit for any person. If you are, standing long in the queue, there is no place to rest, there is no air condition going on, okay? So this empathy you should extend, and you can ask questions that how much score will you give to this particular branch or to this particular bank. And tangibles are like whether you can see modern equipment, whether visually appealing facilities are there, the lights are very glossy, and it is quite cold, chilled, okay, and the employees are very neat and clean, dressed up, right? And the visually appealing materials are there, okay. So actually, these are the 5 things which you can try as well. I'm going to send these materials to you, no problem. So you can make your questionnaire, and in your 2-3 branches, you can simply fill in the questionnaire and to see that what is happening to our study or to our branches in terms of the what we call the service quality. Only thing what you have to do numerically is to test how reliable is your responses. Because sometimes when the people are not putting attention to the responses, all these questions you ask, they don't give any consistent answer. So if there is no consistency, that will again be checked in a, we call alpha value, which is a Cronbach alpha. And there is a software which is called SPSS. I'm sure that many of you have heard of the software. This SPSS software, which is very user-friendly as well, which is a statistical software with which you can get a value of Cronbach alpha for each of the dimensions. And if you put these data in it, and alpha value, if it is above 0.8, you can say that my responses are very reliable, I can work with this. This is the only reliability checking for your data you have to do. And after you have done that, you see that normally what happens, instead of asking them in a scale of 10, that what is your perception? Say the perceived value is here. Okay, they perceive that this branch has a kind of tangibility at this point, at this level. But there are some other values as well. Other values according to the consumer. If you think yourself as a consumer, there can be a desired value or desired level of service. That means what you feel that you expect. That is, out of say 1 to 10, maybe I expect 9. But here I am getting only say 7. Okay. And what is a bare necessity for you? That can be asked as well. So 3 numbers can be asked. Okay. That what is your bare necessity below which you cannot operate, you don't want to come. That is, we call that just adequate service level, right? So from adequate service level to the desired level, the whole zone or this particular range is called the zone of tolerance. As you can see that a customer can tolerate, although you are not giving the best service, but the customer can tolerate, understanding the maturity of the customer and the difficulties of the branch. They can tolerate, but after some time, if the perceived service level goes below that, definitely that will create problem to the consumer. So once you do this, say 3 values you ask from your customers and get the average of 3 values for all customers and see that what is the average desired, what is the average perceived, and what is the average adequate service. So if you know this, you can know that, okay, where we have to go. If we are here, always our tendency should be to move towards the desired level. So this will, in a very small experiment, in individual branch, they will actually tell you that where you are lying as perceived by the customers, because as perceived by the customer, this is very, very important. And again, you can see that there might be differences in different branches for the same bank. For the same bank, there might be different. So you can do a hell of a lot of analysis on that which branches are doing good, which are not doing good. And also you can see that since you have taken those factors differently, you can see that which one of the factors are causing more difficulty. So you can pinpoint the service inadequacies, okay? And if you can pinpoint the service inadequacy, you can write your report that what you can do to increase the level of service. Any comment you want to make? So do you think that this can be performed by some people in a branch easily and collect the data and find out that at which level, as per the desire of the customer, at which level you are operating? If you have any question, you can ask, because I'll move on to some applications we did for Indian banks. Some study was done and we could find some interesting facts on that.
Hello, sir. This is Asif. Can you show us a sample questionnaire on this if you have? Like,
Yeah, I
anything?
definitely have a sample questionnaire. Actually, the sample questionnaire, especially for the bank, if you are interested in the bank or financial sector, because you can see that the very basic elements are these, but according to the applications, you have to change the wording. Okay, so in a hospital, it might be different. In a telecom service, it might be little different. Okay, but for the bank and financial sector, this will be different. So definitely I'll show you. I'll definitely show you what is the basic questionnaire we made. There is always a flexibility. Okay, according to your ambience and environment, you can make little bit of changes in the questionnaire. Okay, but I will definitely send you the questionnaire. Yeah, that's a good thing that you are getting interested. See, we studied 5 banks in 2019, as I said, and in 2019 data, we found the Bank of India, HDFC, ICICI, PNB, Punjab National Bank, and SBI, and they are actually what we made a weighted index. That means with all the 5 different dimensions, and you can ask the question. This question to this is actually going little in a depth. You can ask the question for each of the dimension, how much priority they are giving. Out of 1 to 10, say somebody is giving maximum priority in the assurance, for example. So in 1 to 10, he or she might be giving 9 here, and he might be giving, say, 4 in empathy. If it's a young guy, 4 in empathy. So you can get some kind of a weighted sum or weighted average for the whole of the thing. Okay, and if you ask me to say how to calculate the weighted averages, that I'll tell you in another literature. Only thing that if you show the interest, I will respond. Okay, so the overall weighted in out of 100, you see these were, we call them the index, the performance index. Actually, this is the quality index of these banks. These are the mean values. Okay, these are the mean values, and these are the spreads, what we call the standard error. Okay, so if you look at the mean values, you can see PNB at that time was really doing well in terms of the service quality at that time. And since the SBI is a very heavy bank, okay, it is falling behind a little bit, but you can see in terms of the numbers, the fall is not much. I mean, they are very, very near. Values are very near. We have to actually, fine tune our studies. So with that, you can exactly find out what is happening. On the other hand, you can see HDFC and ICICI. If you compare, the HDFC is not doing that much well as ICICI. If you ask me any question, okay, through the our coordinator here or directly, because you might be knowing my email address, Gmail. So you can ask, I can give you some literature, I can give you some working, okay, which is permissible, because this was a government job. Not everything we can give you, but whichever way we can give you, definitely that will help you. Okay, so this is a very interesting to me, a very interesting application for you. And what we now we can do is this, that we can come to a different application altogether, which is called the bank loan. Okay, now normally, actually, this bank loan problem, that who is to get the loan, who is not to get the loan, is always a problem for the financial houses. Okay, now what we can do is this, that we can build a model which is called the decision tree model. Okay, now this decision tree is a machine learning model. Actually, I'll give you some idea that how decision tree works. Okay, now the decision tree works with some what we call some kind of dimension variables or the category variables. Like in this example, I'll show you that there are 4 different classes of animals: hawk, penguin, dolphin, bear. Okay, in our case, okay, the categories will be defaulters and non-defaulters. Okay, actually, you can say that all your loan customers can be, classified as defaulters and non-defaulters. Now, what happens is this, that how do I know that who is going to be a defaulter? How do I know who is going to be a non-defaulter? That is a big question. So for that, I can get some history data. I can get some history data, and the machine can learn from the history data, okay, with different types of algorithm. And this is a simple algorithm which is called the decision tree. What this algorithm does, that you gather all the animals, okay, and you try to make a tree, but by asking different questions and making different rules. Okay, like say this is very trivial thing, that you ask. First question is, the animal has feather. If it is true, then you ask that can the animal fly? If it is true, you can say it may be hawk. Say in our database, we have only 4 types of animals: hawk, penguin, dolphin, and bear. So I can make a rule that if some animal has feather and can fly, it can be hawk. But if some animal has feather and cannot fly, it can be penguin. Okay, so this is a rule, we call it a tree rule. Why it is a tree? Because you can see it looks like the inverted tree, because the root is on the top and the leaves are at the bottom. So it is some kind of an inverted tree. It grows in a binary nature normally. We can see this tree is growing. Now, on the other hand, if it doesn't have feather, then does it have fins? If true, then it can be dolphin. If it doesn't have fin, it can be bear. Okay, so no feather, no fin can be bear, because this is the only animal we have in our inventory. Now, in this way, actually, we can test each of these past data. Each of these past data we can test in a very generalized way and make some kind of a decision rules or a set of decision rule, and a future customer which follow a particular decision rule and the outcome of that decision rule, I can say that this will happen to the customer. Now, can you see that there is a training data set? With the help of the training data set, which can be very large, we can say that using the training data set, we can make a number of rules, and these rules can apply for the future customer. Here we have only one constraint is this, that we assume that whatever was true for the previous customers will be true for the future customers, because the rules are not changing. Okay, but there are ways you can change the environment, you can change the rules, dynamically these days. But if you see the same thing with some kind of a data, now this is a data which is very, very well known data for the tennis playing. It is a outside, it's a outdoor game. Whether the tennis will be played or not, this was the outcome variable. Whether it will be played or not. Now, there are certain conditions, we call these as the features. Okay, like when somebody comes to you for a loan, you say that you fill in a form, and in the form so many features are there. So you get to know all these features, and for each person who has already taken loan, this is the history data, and applied but didn't get the loan, the outcome would have been yes or no as well. But here this is for the tennis game, yes or no, and we found that if the weather was sunny, temperature hot, humidity very high, and the wind was weak, there was no play. Okay, this kind of a situation we have seen that there was no play. So if I have hundreds of such data before we start making our decision rules, then we may come to some kind of a decision tree depending on the features. Okay, that what is the weather, what is the humidity, what is the windy. So it is a tree-like thing, and we come to the final node, which is the leaf node, giving yes or no category. Okay, so this can be used for us, this is basically the definition, whatever I am describing. And definitely this is a predictive model, because you can predict the nature of a potential customer, whether he or she will be a defaulter or non-defaulter. So that can be predicted. So this is a predictive model, okay? And you can say a credit scoring model as well. So you can score the credibility or capability of the customer with the help of this kind of a thing. Now, I'm not going to the theory of it, although this is not very important, something to do with the probability. And you can see that what happens is that the objective is that in the data, you see the data is always very heterogeneous data, because if you look at the outcome, you see in the outcome, there are no and yes, okay? And if you see in this small example, there are 14 situations, okay? And out of 14 situations, 5 were yes, or you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 were no, and 9 were yes. 9 plus 5 is 14. So they are very haphazard. It is not like 90% of them are yes, okay, and only 10% no. So since it is very heterogeneous, it is very difficult to take a decision. But if it is possible that you can this whole data you can put into the two baskets, where in one basket all of them are no, and in another basket all of them are yes. This is a very hypothetical basket. Okay, that means you are splitting the entire data into two baskets. Okay, one is the result no, the other basket is giving the result yes. Then randomly, if you pick up any of the customer, any of this event, okay, if you pick up from the no basket, it will always give you the result of no. If you pick up from the yes basket, it will always give you the result of yes. So that means if you know what is the rule, then for a newcomer, you can simply using these rules, you can simply know that which basket this customer or would-be customer will fall in, whether in the yes basket or in the no basket. If it falls in the yes basket, you can say, okay, you can get the no. Okay, it is as simple as that. But normally you cannot split into very homogeneous 100% right baskets. There might be some error in any real life situation. There is some error, but you can minimize the error with the help of this tree. Okay. Now, what we have some data set. This is a simple data. If you look at this data set, it says that you see education level is their age. These are the applicants, previous data, previous applicants, their age, their education, number of years of employment, address in the same location, how many years, income in thousand, income, this would be, yeah, in 1,000 annual income. This is a debt to income ratio. They can simply compute what is the debt to income ratio, what is the credit card debt, existing credit card debt, what is the any other debt, okay, in thousands. So these are, you can say, features. Okay, these can be used to split my tree. These are the features, and this is my output column, whether it is defaulted or not. 1 means it is defaulted, 0 means it is non-defaulted. Okay, so I have coded the previous, mind you, these are my previous data, and they are constituting huge number of data, like if I go down, you can say that the data is size is nearly 1,000. Okay, it's more than 850. So 850 data in the bank, you can get 8,000 data, no problem. So more the data, better is the result. So with this kind of a data, what we can do, we can apply a decision tree algorithm. Up till here, I hope that this is okay. I can apply a decision tree algorithm. So I go to, actually this is an SPSS software. So had you been used the SPSS software, you can see that it is not very difficult, menu driven. So you just go to classify. That means we want to classify this thing, yes or no. And in the classification, there is a tree model. Can you see a tree model is there? A decision tree model is there. So I use the tree model. Now my dependent variable is the previously defaulted or not, which I call default as a short name. This one default as a short name. So this is my dependent variable. Okay, and I can take, you see, there is a thing called feature selection. There are ways that which particular feature I should take in my model, and you can take, say, you have done some pre-processing and you say that, okay, I'll take these four, which are impacting to my defaultness. So I take these four and only one particular thing I tweak criteria. You see, since the data set is small, I can say that this can be 5 in the child, the last node. There can be five elements or 5 observations, and the parent can have 10, last part 1. So I just tweaked it there, and I wanted to save. Okay, don't save, I simply say okay. So once I say okay, then what I get, let's see. I get a nice decision tree. Okay, so probably you remember, that we start from all the data and slowly come to the nodes, the leaf nodes, and the leaf nodes where the data is more concentrated. You see, concentration of the no is 78% and yes is 21%. In this node 9, you can see concentration of yes is simply 100% and no is 0%. So whenever you pick up anything from here, that means that yes, this is a defaulter. Okay, so if somebody comes to you and has this kind of a behavior, that means you see what I say, that their debt to income ratio lies between 10 to 15. Okay, and the other debt is less than 0.89. Okay, so if these conditions are true, then this box is created, and all these people here, they are non-defaulters. Okay, so there are bad boxes like this, but they can be, I mean, with the better algorithm, you can get rid of these things. And when you have more data, they will go away. I mean, you can have a accuracy of more than 85%, although here we have an accuracy of, you can see, what is the accuracy? You can see this is 78.9%, which is 79% accuracy of the model. Okay, we call it, actually I'm going very fast for two things, because this requires a lot of time to understand every single bits and pieces before you apply for your own job. And the thing is, anything of machine learning is a trial and error. Okay, you get some result, you try with some other option. Okay, unless otherwise you don't understand, you cannot do it. That is a problem with the analyst, and that's why there is a big demand for the analyst, because not many people are very much conversant with all these things, the data handling and the model building, etc. So this is just one model I have given you the idea that our objective should be, this should be more than 90% accuracy. So if 90% accuracy is there, at least you know that I am making sure that 90% of the loans will be recovered. Okay, and the 10%, okay, you leave aside, no problem. So this is a study which is a very innocent study, you ask to fill in a form and use them in the future. And if this happens, anyone interested, you can give me some data without the name mentioned and address mentioned. I can use the data and send you the result that what is happening. And it is also possible to predict each and individual customer. Like if I add another any question? No. You see, there is a thing called save. So if I click on that and if I said predicted value, so what is the predicted value, whether 0 and 1, I can simply fill it in. Okay, like if I go to the data, you see a new column has been generated. Predicted value, you see this was my original value, if you remember, this is the predicted value. So 1, it is giving 1, so no error. 0, it is giving 0. 1, it is giving 1. Okay, but here it was 1 and made an error, gave 0. So this is why we are losing the percentage. Okay, so what happens that you can predict what would be the value for a newcomer in this model, and you can predict even the probability as well. You can predict that whether it is, normally we give that yes, if it is more than 80% probability of paying back, we give it 1. But there also you can make some adjustments and other things. So you see, this is how you can, with the base data, you can sort of do the prediction for a loan customer. So basically 3 applications I have discussed very quickly. If you remember, one is with the online tweets. So what is happening, what the people are saying, what's sort of discussions in the Facebook about your bank, and all these things can be trapped. So once you can trap them and you can analyze them, that okay, what the things are being discussed today, and it is very dynamic. What is being discussed this month may not be the same in the next month. So you can do the analysis. Your analyst people can carry on using this, handling the customers, handling their grievances or their kind of ideas about the branch or the bank. They can find it out. So the first application was with this. The second application also, this is customer oriented. I was more interested with the customers only because they are the people who are making competitions. Okay, so you have to understand your customer well. So how good is your service? Because this service is one very important thing which we did not understand before, but now we have to understand that the service is very, very important than your interest rate. Okay, so if you can please the customers, they are happy to give another 0.1% interest to you, no problem. So this service excellence, how you increase the quality of service, what are the different dimensions of the quality of service, and how you can develop a questionnaire, that can be done very easily. For a bank, you can give it a try. I can also send you something, no problem. So with the help of that, the analysis is very, very simple as well. You can simply add up, and if you can ask them to give some weightage for each and individual dimension, you can have a weighted addition or weighted average, okay, and find out You can compare branch to branch. That is one very interesting thing. You can also go down into the detail of the dimension, that in which dimension we are playing low. That can be done very easily. So that was the second interesting application. And the third application, which is a day-to-day headache, comes to you because especially for the retail banker, a lot of people come to you for loans, and what should be the parameters? How can you build a standardized model for that? Okay, that model can vary from bank to bank, in a corporate to corporate, but for you with your priorities and other things, you can build a model like this, which can assure you that, okay, at least we have done our own analysis instead of asking others. Because when others are giving you some kind of a thing, it will be a totally black box. You don't know how they did it, what they did, okay, only the results they are showing. But this is so simple that you can do it yourself without doing much effort. So you know exactly what is happening. Now, at this stage, I'll be very happy to understand that was it helpful to you? Can anybody make a comment?
Sir, this is Kanchan Sarwadani from Social Islamic Bank Limited. This is very much useful because I want to say, because in a small country like Bangladesh, there are more than 60 commercial banks are operating now, and the market is very much limited. That's why this, based on the 5 indicators that we have mentioned before, it is very much useful to for the banks to implement, because every bank is trying to implement the latest softwares and many other things to come close to the customers. So these parameters are very much useful for, I think so. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. I'm sure this is going to help you out. And anybody for any further discussion? Yes, please. Afrida, your comment?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your session. Anybody has any question from our participants? No,
So
I think
you can jot down what else you require. I would like to send you, okay, so that you can share.
Okay, so I would like to join here. I would
Yeah.
be taking notes from them, the SIBL trainees who are here. If they have further queries for you, I will surely let Miss Afrida know, and she will be informing you, sir.
Okay, that will be good. Thank you so much. Did you enjoy the talk?
yes, sir, we did.
Yes, sure.
Yes. So I think that time has come to say goodbye to all of you. You enjoy the day, and hope the things were not bad ultimately. And we hope to meet you sometime again if possible. And if you do require anything on the service quality or the customer understanding, okay, so I'll be happy to respond to that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so
I will
much. Have a
forward
good
you all
day.
queries.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Goodbye, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your valuable
Okay,
time.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Afrida. Please carry on.
Well, participants, we have our next session at 2:30 on Excel, which will be conducted by Mohammad Nahin, sir. So hope you will be all available at 2:30 for the training session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. For your 2:30 session, I will be there to answer your queries.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We are expecting you guys to be in the 2:30 session. That would be regarding Microsoft Excel. Like, you guys are already masters of Microsoft Excel, I know, because I have worked in a NBFI before. So I guess that would be also very interesting for you guys. Thank you so much for the session now. এখন জুম্মার সময়, so we don't want to keep you guys waited. Please have your time. We will be meeting at 2:30 p.m. Thank you so much.